With authority, baby. Obviously, it ain't matter. Do I need to bang again? Do I need to bang again? No, go ahead. Right. Good evening, everyone. How's everyone feeling tonight? All right, let's get our meeting started. If everyone could have a seat.
In accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-6 et sec, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertising in the Star Ledger, El Nuevo Coquí, Haiti Progress, and Luso Americano newspapers, and by distribution to administrative offices of the Newark Public Schools. A copy of this meeting notice was forwarded to City Hall for posting. This is a regular board meeting Tuesday, January 22, 2019, 6:13 p.m.
I would humbly ask for Miss Asia Norton to salute the flag. Thank you kindly.
Mr. Bledsoe?
Present.
Ms. Gaddy?
Present.
Ms. Gomez?
Present.
Ms. Haynes?
Present.
Ms. Hill?
You should wait for the roll.
Ms. Norton?
Present.
Ms. Owens?
Present.
Mr. Padilla?
Present.
Ms. Garcia? Not here. We have a quorum.
Readings from the principal.
Good evening. On behalf of the Mount Vernon School family, and as you can see, we are one big family. It is my honor to welcome Superintendent Leon, Deputy Superintendent Fitzhugh, School Business Administrator Wilson, General Counsel Liss, esteemed board members, honored guests, community members, and other friends of the Newark Public Schools to our incredible school community. At Mount Vernon School, we pride ourselves on two things: academic excellence and diversity. And all you have to do is spend a short time here, and you will see that we are in short supply of neither. From naturally inquisitive students to supportive families to our incredible staff, Mount Vernon is truly a special place, and we are all so happy that you can be here with us tonight. January is School Board Recognition Month. In honor of this month, we have provided each member on the dais with a small token of appreciation. At your seats, you will find a copy of the book Wonder by R.J. Palacio. This book will actually be gifted to all of our 5th grade students this spring, but we thought you might enjoy it as well. It's a beautiful story about accepting and celebrating people's differences, an idea that is central to what we do here at Mount Vernon. Inside the book, you will find homemade bookmarks. They celebrate each of the members of our board. We hope you'll enjoy them. But as I continue to talk to you about Mount Vernon, I continue to think about the fact that it's one thing to hear about it, and it's something else entirely to experience it. So with that sentiment, I would like to present to you a group of Mount Vernon students who would like to perform some material that they have been developing through our Alvin Ailey Residence Program. I would also like to recognize and thank all of the students, family members, and staff members who have come here tonight to welcome you, support their school, and support their classmates. And with that, I give you Mount Vernon School.
would now like to give our attention to our superintendent for student recognition.
Let's give a big round of applause to it's another presentation, right? That was it? All right, let's give them all a big round of applause. Great job. So we have a number of recognitions that we would like to do at this time. These two young students of ours had an incredible opportunity and experience last year. And their principal, Mr. Allen at South 17th Street School, took them to an oratory competition. Took them last year just to witness it, to see how hard it was going to be, to let them know that one day they might want to have this type of experience. Well, that one day came a couple of days ago, and they did a little bit more than participate. They went there with this belief, a belief that probably comes somewhat in them, a belief that perhaps was taught to them at home, but definitely a belief that was nourished at school. And it wasn't nourished by just anybody who cares about these two guys. It was actually nourished from the person at the top in that school. The principal of the school felt that this was something they should see, and he believed in them. Terrell Foster assumed a big responsibility by competing in that oratory program. And ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor and privilege to announce that Terrell Foster was in fact ranked 4th in the 20th annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Oratorical Program. Come on up. Come on. All right. Yep. They're gonna all shake your hand. Go over there. All right. Isn't that great? Oh my goodness, we are so proud of you. And we know this is just one of many more certificates to come, because we expect greatness from you in our high schools. After you graduate, you move on from 8th grade and graduate from high school. Then whatever college gets the honor of having you attend it. So we're gonna put you there. All right. Let's give them another round of applause. And so we're gonna do this because I think it's the right thing to do, right? So remember, they were never in this competition before. And Corey, who's a classmate, he went last year to observe, probably get scared, probably understand what his principal wanted to do. And guess what happened with Corey Staggers? Ladies and gentlemen, Corey Staggers is the first place contestant in the 20th annual Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Oratorical Program. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Congratulations. Yep. You hold this for me, Madam Chair. So watch. So always whenever because you're gonna get a lot of these, when you get presented with it, which is what my job is, you always take it with your left, take it with your left, and you shake under with your right, like that, all right? Great job. Why don't you stand here, because we want to take a picture with both of y'all. All right, can we do that? All right, I'm going to stand. Wait, I'm going to take on this side. Is that all right? Where's my principal? Come on. Listen. You know, I don't know why he took them to the competition the first year, because we probably could have won first place last year and this year. But you know what? They won first place because they finally went, right? Let's give the principal a big round of applause. All right, we got our picture ready? All right. All right, big congratulations to both of you. Great job. Great job, great job. So, for those of you who witnessed in December's board meeting, we did a number of recognitions. And tonight, the University High School Lady Phoenix are the distinguished 2018 Newark City Basketball Girls Champions. Let's give them a big round of applause. And I know they have a big game tonight, but representing the high school is the athletic director, Ms. Wilson. Former Phoenix herself. All right, will everyone kind of join us again?
That would be nice.
Yes, thank you very much.
Nope, I wasn't going to see you.
All right, let's give Lady Phoenix a big round of applause. What was the ranking? Top 10. Oh, we need a number. We need a number. Like what we're about to do. What we're about to do. You see, because this next team is not only Newark's 2018 boys champions. That is, in fact, what they're being recognized right now. But the Red Raiders from Eastside are ranked number 3 in the state of New Jersey, with one of the top, heaviest competitions of the year. And we have none other than the incredible head coach of this incredible basketball. It's not a team. See, many of you watching believe this is a team we're recognizing. I am not recognizing a team. We recognize the University High School Lady Phoenix program. That's different between a club, a team, and a program. Mr. Tavares at Eastside High School has a program. Mr. Tavares, coach, would you please come up here? He already knows this. I think he's one of the most incredible educators that we have in this fine city, and he's obviously done an incredible job with these young men. So big congratulations to you. We don't want to jinx any other recognitions during the rest of this year, but the guys that are present, we want to give them not only a big thank you, but a shout out at this time. So he's going to call the guys up.
Thank you, everybody. It's a great honor to be here today. After last year, we made it all the way down to the Group 4 state final at Rutgers. We lost on a free throw at the end. I believe we were 28-4. We finished the year at 6th in the state. We lost 7 out of our top 9 players, all seniors. I want to publicly say that last year's senior class, one of them is at Stony Brook University, Hassan Cisse, on a Division I scholarship. We have another, Shamir Johnson, at East Stroudsburg University on a full ride, a Division II scholarship. Another young man, Jihad Jenkins, is at Felician University, Division II, on a full basketball scholarship. And we have another young man who's a brother of one that's here. He's in a junior college in Missouri on a full basketball scholarship. So we have 4 basketball players for the class of 2018 that are in school for free. So not a lot was expected this year of us. And the gentlemen that are sitting right there, they're missing a few, worked tremendously hard over the off season and the summer. And right now, like Mr. Leone said, we're ranked number 3 in the state. We're happy that we won the city tournament. There's a lot of great teams in the city, so it's always an honor to win this. So right now, I want to bring up the 2 juniors on the squad, which is Gabe Olani and Micah Johnson. Following them, I brought 5 seniors. We have Andrew Spate, Nasir Johnson, Denzel Small, James Paul, and the last senior that I want to bring up, his name is Naz Amos. Even though he's the smallest guy in the team, he has won the Newark Holiday Tournament, the city championship, all 4 of his years. He was a 4-year starter. Sorry, James.
Wait, can we do this? Sorry. So let's give the guys that are present a big round of applause. So we have a couple of real tall board members who always get to be in the back of the picture. So they're extremely excited that now they are able to be in the front of the picture. They're actually in the picture. But I just want everyone to know that the incredible work that we're doing at Eastside High School, the litany of students that have not only are in college right now, is something worthy of students to know that going to Eastside is an end result. You have incredible students like Randy Foyer, who not only attended high school, graduates from Villanova, and is an incredible star in the NBA today. And to talk about stars, you know, one of the things that problems our young people today is that it bothers them sometimes when they're living their dreams. This young man right here lives his dream right now. He is not waiting for the NBA. He is not waiting for that college scholarship. He is living a dream right now. He is being excellent in the present. He is an example of what we want of all of our students to do and be, and that's to believe, and everything else is going to fall in place. Knowing that he's a senior right now, knowing where we are with his academics, and knowing the importance of what colleges are looking for is what we want to prioritize, not only with him, not only the other 4 seniors that are here, the rest of the seniors on the team, but the seniors that are in all of our schools. So the evidence of what the school has done is only showing and sharing with me promise that he's going to be all right. But we are expecting great things from this young man as well as the other guys that are on this team, and greatness is sure to come. A big congratulations to the Eastside Red Raiders. We got it ready for a picture? Because this picture is going to be worth money. I want to be right next to you, right? All right. Great job. Great job. Last recognition, board members, last recognition. And then I promise it, well, oh, sorry, it's the next to last recognition. So,
I couldn't even see it. I was like, wait, they're seniors?
They're here to serve witness to the last of student recognitions. So this recognition is a very special one because Rashid Sheffield, who is the band director at the Malcolm X Shabazz High School, he is responsible for all of the performances that these students have been involved in years, 4 years. So I would like Rashid Sheffield to please come forward. He is joined by Christina Henry, the captain of the dancers. He's here with Cheyenne Brown, the captain of the flag twirlers. And he's here with Jaquil Ward, the section leader of the trumpets. so excited that I think I put a couple of extra syllables in trumpets. So I apologize for that, but I don't apologize for this recognition. It's the only band today. Only band today. That means we're expecting more bands to come. But it's the only band in this city who has performed in front of how many presidents of the United States?
Three.
3 presidents of the United States. It's the only band today, which means there will be more bands to come from a number of high schools. But it at least is the only band today that is invited to every single marching event in this city, in this state, and from this city all across the United States. This band that is under his leadership, with under the few dollars he gets from this job, the few dollars he gets, he runs it almost completely.
Yes, yes.
Asking for no donations unless they accidentally come his way. I have seen this band perform in the wickiest of weather.
Yes.
And that's not part of the presentation. And I've seen the yellow of the black and gold look more black than gold. Because they've used the same uniforms year after year after year. No more to that.
All right.
Can you please open that for the audience?
Drum roll.
All right, so we have to show that camera because there are people out there who are non-believers. All right, so what do we have here? How much?
$50,000.
Okay. Okay. See, board members, there are people who watch this station to see these meetings, and they're gonna think that we're in like Newark, Delaware. Newark, New Jersey, Malcolm X Shabazz High School. When you do what they do, that's what you get. A big round of applause. All right. All right, let's give them a big round of applause. Great job, Mr. Sheffield. Oh, picture, sorry. I got too excited about the next part. Great job. Proud of you. You see how we do? Okay. Y'all saw the challenge? Okay. Ask the Lady Phoenix what happened when they won the Tournament of Champions champion. Because that's what happens when you do great things, not when you do good things. We have students. Do you know how many students I could put out on the stage, just like the 9 people I'm about to recognize? I could pick so many staff members to recognize for doing some really good work. That is not what the Newark I Lead will be recognizing. We will appreciate people for doing good things, because that's a good thing to do. But we will honor those who do great things, because that's what we do in Newark. Newark is about greatness. And I'm going to share with you that this portfolio that I have in front of me, in the district's blue and in our silver emblem, is one of many gifts that we are giving in this recognition to our board members. Yes. As part of School Board Recognition Month, we want the 9 board members to know that their time, and I'm going to share with you that I didn't know this, although I've worked with most of them during the last 3 to 6 years, I didn't really know the type of commitment that they are actually doing and making to this work, to make sure that the recognitions that we just did are consistent with the expectations of the campaigns of this district, making sure that I'm doing the best that I can be, because they know that my job is to do the best for our students and to make sure that everything that our staff members need are aligned with that mission. So we have Ms. Deering, who is here, who has a few words, and then we will make sure that the first of several gifts that they're receiving, that they begin to receive them tonight.
Well, on behalf of the Newark Board of Education, I just want to say that it's a pleasure working with you all and echo the superintendent's sentiment. It's that you guys give 120%. You're always there. I'd like you to be a little bit more responsive, but it's all good. And so on behalf of the district, this is just a token of Superintendent Leon's. Thank you.
Madam Chair, and that ends the recognitions at this time.
Thank you, Superintendent. That was very emotional. Appreciate it. You want a picture? Okay. At the end.
There's several.
Okay. Oh, snap now. Thank you, Superintendent. That was very thoughtful. Appreciate you. Now to the approval of the minutes. Motion. Second.
And we have the minutes read into the record. Which meetings we're approving?
The motion was, as I understand it, for approval of all the minutes in item 6.0.
Can you state it
That
for
is
the
6.1, 6.2, and 6.3, unless any board member wishes to make the motion differently.
Can you state it for the record which meeting minutes we're approving?
6.1 is all of them. 6.2 is December 11, 2018. 6.3 is December 15, 2018.
Thank you. Second motion.
Ms. Norton moved and Mr. Bledsoe
Second.
seconded. Any discussion? favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries.
Now we will have our student report by our student representative.
Good evening, students, parents, NPS staff, and fellow board members.
Good evening.
I wanted to start off by saying Happy New Year to everyone. I'm excited for what this new year holds, and I'm glad to see everyone here today. I also wanted to congratulate my fellow seniors who are receiving their college acceptances, and I'm proud that they are accomplishing the goals they have set for themselves and continue to proudly represent this district. In addition, I also wanted to thank the Mount Vernon students for their performance. It was absolutely beautiful and fantastic, so thank you. The first item on my agenda is to notify parents and students here with us today or watching from home about some important dates to remember and updates to consider, some of which were recommended from some community members to discuss today. First, a New Jersey appellate court has struck down a requirement that students must pass 2 state exams before they can graduate high school and invalidates the State Department of Education's requirement that students must pass standardized exams, commonly known as the PARCC tests. The second is in regards to all students seeking admission to a magnet school. Students in transitioning grades must submit an enrollment application no later than Friday, February 15th. If you do not want a new school, you do not have to complete an application. 8th grade students in an NPS school will take the admission test in their school on Friday, February 15th. Our TIE auditions have also been rescheduled for Saturday, January 26th. Now I want to take the time to delve into a little on what my goals are for the new year. These goals revolve around creating a method of communication for students throughout the district, and this will be accomplished through the means of a website that will hopefully be accessible mid-February. This will allow me to post content related to citywide events and important dates for students to be aware about. It will also allow future student representatives to come into contact with students across the district and organize future events. Meanwhile, my hope is to meet with student leaders from across the district and better understand the unique issues that each school faces. In the coming weeks, I will have the opportunity to meet with the Superintendent Student Council and continue to meet with students from the Newark Students Union and the Newark Office of Youth and College Affairs, as well as other leadership groups. I would like to acknowledge Faja Kegler and Bradley Gomia, 2 students who continue to dedicate their time towards bettering our community and who I will have the privilege to work with to make sure that our schools continue to change for the better. In terms of the Newark Office of Youth and College Affairs, they continue to prepare students with the leadership skills to excel outside of higher education. If you would like to attend their meetings, they are on Fridays at 4 p.m. at City Hall. The Newark Student Union, a student-led organization focused on engaging with students across the district and promoting a quality education for Newark students. Their meetings are held on Thursdays from 4 to 6 p.m. at Rutgers Bradley Hall. Thank you again to everyone for being here tonight, and I'm glad you could join us.
Andre, that's it? Thank you so much, Andre. We appreciate it. And now we'll have the chair's report, which was given by our chairwoman, Josie Garcia, and she sends her regards for missing tonight's meeting. Good evening, fellow board members, superintendent, administrators, students, family, and constituents. Thank you for giving your time and joining us this evening. This is our first board meeting in the new year, and I hope everyone had a happy holiday season. Your board members continuously strive to be a happy, effective, highly effective, and school board, and Superintendent Leon is helping us get there. In December, myself and board member Floisha Hill, Leah Owens, Asia Norton, along with other members of the executive staff, attended the board meeting in Irvington. It was a great opportunity to see how they conduct their meetings, and it is a great idea on how we might be able to improve our own. There were a few similarities and a few differences in the way that the meetings were structured. For example, they have committee meetings the prior week to the board meeting, but they have one meeting a month and the board meeting immediately before the public meeting. We have one student representative and they have two. One reported out on issues related to academics and the other on athletic events. They have 13 schools and we have over 60. The NBOE members present made plans to contact with the Irvington board members to have a great conversation and networking opportunity. On Saturday, January 5th, the superintendent hosted the last breakfast series at Camden Street School, and we look forward to hearing what we heard and learned from our students, parents, guardians during his 5-ward listening tour. Reminders, please mark your calendar for the next parent-teacher conference scheduled for Wednesday, February 13th. This is a chance for you to meet your child's teacher to discuss their academic performances and what you can do to supplement their learning when they're home. Please do not miss this important opportunity to talk to your children's teacher and pick up the report cards. The school application is open and closes on Friday, February 15th. Please go online to complete the application if your child is transferring grade, you are looking for a different school, or you are new to the great city of Newark. If you are satisfied with your current school, you do not have to complete the application. And that completes the chairwoman's report. Y'all might have to clap. Public hearing? Superintendent. And now we'll hear from our superintendent, Mr. Roger Leon.
Good evening. Thank you, Madam Chair, all of the members of the board, and all of the good folks that are in attendance this evening. At the start of each month, one of the things that we are doing at this meeting is reporting out to the public how we're doing on attendance. We know for a fact that of the students who attended school last year, those who attended school did far better than the students who stayed at home. So attending school, being to school on time is extremely important. Then obviously, when you are there, being present, meaning not just in the building, but actively engaged in your learning. Last year, the district's attendance average was 86%. I am proud to report that our average daily attendance for all of the months since the start of this school year has been above 90%. So that's something to be very proud of. If you are a teacher who's making calls, a member of central office who is following up on the students where you gave me 5, if you're a mom, dad, a grandma, aunt, uncle, neighbor, cousin, somebody who is worried about one of our students, just one, and you are making sure that they're to school and to school on time, regardless of how they get there, but you're making sure that they are in fact present. I just want to take this opportunity to let you know that you are responsible for that incredible attendance. It's extremely important to know that every school is not necessarily at that same mark, and we're going to work hard at making sure that we make drastic improvements where in fact they need to be. As it relates to needs of students, this is one of the questions that was actually raised last week at the business meeting, and really understanding why a student is not in school, understanding what are the dynamics at school as well as at home is in fact one of the areas that we will make sure that we delve into aggressively, with the understanding that with 36,000 students in our school district, there could technically be over 36,000 reasons as to why our students are not finding their ways to school. So we're extremely excited to be able to help families figure out the these results, and in the process to begin to provide the assistance and support to students so that they are actually successful in school. One of the important things to note is that we have increased the number of our attendance counselors. Prior to the holidays, we hired 6 attendance counselors. After the holidays, we hired 13. Our objective is to have an attendance counselor in every school. The objective was to have that task completed during the course of this month, and I know that we are going to be interviewing we've been interviewing and will continue to interview until we have every single one of those positions filled. One of the board members asked at the business meeting the importance of understanding what is our staff's attendance. So there is work that we will do and make sure that at the personnel committee for the month of February that there is an actual report that is there, and the idea as to, what are the different factors with regards to being able to ascertain that information as quickly as we would want will all be explained and clarified at that time. Senior transcripts audits. So one of the things that I did when I was assistant superintendent of the high schools is I actually audited all of the senior transcripts of all of the seniors in our high schools. I began at Westside High School, and I actually completed the task of every single high school, and I did it myself. During my start, one of the things that I did was audit all of the high schools with the assistance of one of our incredible vice principals. We went over the same strategy that I utilized when I was assistant superintendent of the high schools. I asked the same person who assisted me to do that report to complete the task. That task was in fact completed. I then called a meeting of all of the vice principals in charge of scheduling, anybody who supervises the school counselors, and all of the high school counselors. In particular, we focused on all of the comprehensive high schools because that is where the greatest need arises. I invited all of the magnet school staff to be in attendance because I knew that the need at the comprehensive high schools was so great based on the data that we were collecting that they were going to need assistance and support from their colleagues in other schools. We then completed a freshman transcript audit where we reviewed all of the transcripts of our freshmen in our schools, ascertain what was the need there, and we'll be sharing those findings with the school counselors this Thursday. The next task will be that the counselors of all of our sophomores and juniors will begin the sophomore transcript audit and the junior transcript audit. That work is extremely important to begin to course correct some of the direction that our students are not only in, but the direction that some of our staff was in fact provided when guidance was given to them some time ago. The work ahead is long. The seniors who may be watching this video broadcast need to understand that whatever is the program that has been outlined for them by their school counselors and the vice principal in charge of scheduling is extremely important for them to complete everything that is required so they can actually graduate and graduate on time. So it's not that we're in a safe space at all. The road ahead of the students who require credits in order to graduate is going to require a lot of intentional assistance and support by those who love you, and more importantly, by you directly. So I'm looking forward to seeing our number of our students that are seniors being able to graduate, whether it's in June or August, and to be able to do so because they made course corrections and began to focus aggressively on all that is required of them by their teachers in our schools. So I look forward to providing different guidance to our guidance counselors so that hopefully the classes that come, the class of 2023 that are 8th graders now, get a different assistance or provided a different set of assistance in the year to come. A community conversation began on the 16th of January This was an incredible meeting that began with a committee that was formed at the top of that morning, and then members of the community who were invited to an evening session. It was a 2-hour meeting where we, in fact, engaged the community in an incredible process. That is the major accomplishment of that day. Cross-sections of all facets of this community were in attendance, from students, elementary students, high school students, community members, members of community-based organizations, of foundations, higher education, the entire faith-based organizations. We had everyone in the room and engaged on the work ahead. The work ahead entails roundtable stakeholder meetings that will focus in 9 distinct areas during the month of, and those meetings will continue into the spring. The month of February, as the principals are going over their budgets with their assistant superintendents and members of the community, they will then have community meetings where they will present the approved budgets as it relates to the previews. So we're extremely excited about that. Members of all of our school communities will have an opportunity to learn about aspects of the strategic plan, as well as to provide recommendations on a school-by-school level, and we look forward to everyone's input there. In the early spring, there will be a formal presentation to the superintendent based on these different stakeholder meetings, so I'm looking forward to what the roundtables learn and the recommendations that they provide the district. Sometime as we're getting close to the end of this school year, so the tail end of May, perhaps early June, we will have, in fact, published NPS Clarity 2020, which will be the strategic plan moving forward. It will have 1 year's life as the NPS next 3 years plan comes to an end this June. What are some of the things that are occurring in the next days and a couple of weeks? I am excited to share that tomorrow the district will be meeting with Montclair State University, and there will be a call with the American Federation of Teachers as that partnership will launch the Teacher Academy at Eastside High School. So that meeting is tomorrow. On Thursday, I will be meeting with all of the high school school counselors, and I'm extremely excited about the work that they will assist in doing. This weekend, the district will have students from University High School and Science Park at Emory University in Atlanta, Georgia, and we're extremely excited and wish those 2 programs lots of success in the Berkeley Forum Emory University Debate Tournament. On Saturday, there'll be a meeting with the elementary coaches. So we had already a meeting with all of the high school advisors and members of the coaching staff. So we look forward to doing the exact same with our elementary coaches. On Monday, the exact same focus that we're providing at Eastside High School, even though it's at Montclair State University, somewhere down in South Jersey, we will be having a focus on Westside High School, and I'm extremely excited about the work that we're doing launching the city's Business Academy. We've already done intensive work with Rutgers School of Business last week, and we look forward to the work ahead with Rutgers and Google, who are the 2 partners in the program there. At the end of next week, the board will be receiving information with regards to our visit to Gallaudet University. So by the end of this week, board members will be receiving information about the Gallaudet trip. Gallaudet University has the top leading school for the deaf for elementary students and high school students. We already visited Katzenbach, which is a little south of Trenton, to see what New Jersey has to offer. And I'm going to share with you that it was an absolutely incredible experience to see some of our former students at Jackson back. It was also extremely important to learn some of the great things that they are doing there, and they will actually help us do some greater things here in the city of Newark, and the visit to Gallaudet will round off next week. February obviously will be these committee meetings as well as these budget reviews, and I thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board for this opportunity, and this ends the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Superintendent. I appreciate that.
The recognition, right? So, sorry, Madam Chair. You know, there are sometimes an opportunity that we have to tell people like we did today, thank you for the work that you're doing. We appreciate you. We honor you. We recognize you. And then there are times when, in fact, we don't say it enough, that we don't take the time to pause and tell people, hey, you know what? You're doing a really good job, and we thank you for that. Sometimes we do that at the weirdest moments. Sometimes when the person is at a high, and even oftentimes when the person is at a low. This time is at a high. And so we have a member of our staff who is not going to continue with this administration. He has made a very important decision to start a different opportunity in education, but not with us. And we just wanted to give a big thank you and shout out to our very own Elijah Griffith. You know, on behalf of the board, I know that you, in particular, assumed great responsibilities last year and throughout all of this year, and I know that we're very appreciative of everything that you have done and the work that you've done with me since July. I just want to take this opportunity to not only thank you, but wish you lots of luck, and know that we are not that far, and wish you nothing but great success. Thank you.
Thank you, Superintendent. I would just like for us to take a moment, to have a moment of silence for the young man, the 7-year-old. Although he was not one of our district students, it is still something that hit our community very hard here in the city of Newark. And it made me just, grab my kid and give him a hug just a little bit longer. So I would truly appreciate that. Thank you. Public portion?
Public participation at board meetings is intended to allow individual members of the public to address the board on issues of public concern, and not intended as a forum for extended conversation or two-way dialogue with the board members or district officials. The board chair, superintendent, or designee may respond to questions either at the end of the session or at a later time. It shall be the responsibility of the board chair to maintain order and efficient process during public participation at board meetings, especially so that the full time allotment for public comment is given over to the speakers from the public. Public participation at regular board meetings will be limited to 90 minutes. This time allotment may be extended for an additional 15 minutes by the board chair at her discretion. All speakers, regardless of whether he or she represents an organization, will be allotted no more than 3 minutes for comment unless an exception applies. Time limits for all speakers will be adhered to. There will be no sharing or granting of speaking time to others. Speakers must be present when their name is called. All speakers will be required to give their names and addresses. The public participation portion of the meeting will be limited to 1 hour and 30 minutes. Examples of unacceptable behavior that will not be permitted include, but are not limited to, naming district employees and engaging in personal attacks, racial slurs, excessive loudness, calling out, yelling, generally disruptive behavior, attempting to disrupt the meeting, or inciting others to do so. The superintendent or board chair may interrupt any speaker or terminate any individual's speaking privilege if the speaker's comments are disruptive or obscene. An individual may be cautioned that a personally directed statement may be slanderous or defaming, and that the individual may be liable for his or her statements. Attempts to hijack or filibuster the proceedings, repeated interrupting or badgering the board chair or district officials, repetitive and truculent speech or other disregard for the rules of decorum will not be tolerated and may subject the individual or group to removal from the meeting. If necessary, the board meeting will be adjourned.
First speaker, Mr. Malcolm White Walker. Welcome, Malcolm.
Thank you. What I want to speak about on today is when I don't like what happens in a lunchroom. Like they have us split up in fifth grade, split it from like they have fifth grade and they have the classes split up like differently. Like one class is with third and fourth grade, and one class is with third and fourth grade. Like they have two classes on one side for third and fourth grade, two classes on one side for third and fourth. No, on my side it's only one class, but on the other side it's two other classes for third and fourth grade and fifth grade. And I think fifth grade should be separate from the other grades, because what if something happened and they don't know where one grade is? They should have them all separate so they can know where each one is at and don't have it all mixed up. And also, if our teachers come on one side, it can be easier for them to know where we're at instead of going all around and looking for us.
Anything else?
No.
Thank you. Next speaker, Ms. Sanaya McClendon.
Good evening, Mr. Superintendent and school board members. My name is Sanaya McClendon. I am a 7th grade dreamer at Avon Avenue School. I have been going to Avon since 3rd grade, and it has honestly been the best time of my life. I enjoy going to Avon because the staff and the teachers and Principal Hager teach you a lot, and they never give up on us dreamers. The staff and Principal Hager always try their hardest to make sure we get what we need, and they can't do it alone anymore. Avon Avenue School is suffering from a problem with our kitchen. Our school gets our food made from another school and sent to us. It is not fair because the food is mostly cold and that is not healthy or yummy for our dreamers. I was wondering, are we the only school that is going through this, or is there other schools going through this? In 2017 summer, we have been told that we was receiving a new stove. It is 2019 and we haven't received the stove yet. At the moment, we have lunch ladies who can only serve delivered foods. If we had a stove and cooks, we can have hot foods and healthier options. Mr. Superintendent, it is my hope that you, the school board members, our administrators, and our parents find a way to provide the 500+ students of Avon Avenue School with a functional kitchen. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Have a blessed evening.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sanaya. Next speaker. Mr. Superintendent would like to address you.
1 second, Sanaya. Thank you, Sanaya. You come back to the microphone. So we try not to speak from here when somebody comes to the microphone, simply because once your time is up, your time is up. So I just want to make you aware of that, but I didn't want you to sit down because I wanted to formally see you. I want to thank you for your comments. One of the things that's really important that I want you to be able to share with your classmates when you go back to school is that one of the assignments that this board has voted in favor of is my abilities to conduct a needs assessment of every school. And so I wrote to the entire staff, and maybe it didn't get to anyone to you, but I'm letting you know that I have asked for a review of every aspect of every school, from the roof to the boiler, from the front door to the back door, every classroom in between, and my letter that I wrote to every staff member, all 6,380 of them. They received a communication from me that said every cafeteria, every gym, every kitchen, all of the areas of the building, from where you play to where you line up to where you sit in the classroom. And what we're gonna do is when I get that report, and by you sharing this with me, you're already telling me, hey, we know what the problem is here. So you know what that's showing me? You ready for the job. You understand? All you have to do, finish up elementary school, you got one more year, get into any one of our great high schools. By the time you get to 8th grade next year, we're gonna have all of our high schools, even the closest one nearest to you, ready for you, because you are ready for a phenomenal high school, whichever one that is. And I share with you this, that while I cannot make a promise that tomorrow there will be a new kitchen, please know this, that when I get that report of the needs assessment of every single school, I expect to see Avon Avenue having an issue with the kitchen. And when that occurs, I'll come to you at your school, so that means it'll happen during your time period there, and we will figure out what we do in the short term and what we do in the long term to make sure that we fix things. But you having food that isn't warm is not acceptable, okay?
Thank you.
So, Maya, can you please come back to the microphone? You said you were in 7th grade? Yes. There are people who come to the microphone who are older than 7th grade, and after we finish talking, they continue to talk back. You modeled for adults in this room what you're supposed to do on that side of the microphone. You're not supposed to like what we said. That's why technically we don't say anything. We put it, so one person has come to the microphone and said, you know, we should get things in writing, and she's actually very, very close to absolutely almost 100% right. But I asked you to come back to the microphone because you modeled something, and you're just a child. You modeled exactly, so whoever your mommy, daddy is, whoever loves you at home, I love them a lot. And I want to thank you for modeling excellence, because I know that's what my principal at Avon wants of everyone in her school. Good job.
Next speaker, Miss Malaya Wellborn.
Copacetic evening, Mr. Superintendent and school board members. My name is Malaya Wellborn, and I am from 7th grade. I am a brick Avon dreamer at Avon Avenue School. I love going to Avon because since kindergarten, it has been an welcoming experience. So far, our school gym has been unavailable to us for the entire school year. I recently learned at a parent meeting that it has been unavailable because there is mold growing on the walls. A number of times, our gym has been repainted, but yet the mold still continues to go back. This creates a health hazard for our students, especially the ones with allergies and asthma, so we can't really have class in the gym. So we have to have gym in our classrooms or the rec. So we don't really have fun. And we don't really have anything to do but sit in the rec or the room and play games or try to at least have fun. If we had a functional gym, we would be able to actually have the space and room to do different activities like exercise and get time to have fun. We only have a gym once a week. There isn't really much to do in that period of time we have since we don't have space or any activities that will fit in the class or the rec. Mr. Superintendent, it is my wish that the students at Avon Avenue School get to have a gym where we can actually go in and do gym activities, but not have to worry about anything affecting the health of our dreamers. Please show all of our dreamers that we matter by working with our principal and parents to find a solution to this issue. Thank you for your time.
I am just blown away. Thank you, Ms. Malaya. Next speaker, Janiyah Jackson-Page.
Good evening, Superintendent and school board members. My name is Janiyah Jackson-Page, and I am a 7th grade dreamer at Avon Avenue School. I honestly adore going to Avon because of the fun they put in learning. The special events we have are so exciting and thrilling. And most of all, my experience there has been phenomenal. Tonight, I'm here because we need a playground. Our playground has recently received new backboards, a new soccer field pitch. By the way, thank you, Mr. Leon and Mrs. Muniz. But in the last decade, that's been it. Mr. Superintendent, it is my hope that you, the school board, our administrators, and our parents find a way to provide our 500+ student body with a functional playground. A playground is important to us because we really don't have anything to do during recess. Sometimes during recess, scholars tend to start drama, fights, and picking on others because they aren't occupied during this time. Students tend to get hurt on the playground surface because of the asphalt ground we currently have. Having monkey bars, slides, and swings gives us an opportunity to have structured play. Also, if we have turf on our platform, it will save us the injuries that are caused by the children playing and falling on the asphalt ground. We are counting on you, our parents, and school board and administrators to develop a positive partnership that makes a new playground a reality. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Janiyah. Next speaker, Jules McKenneth. Not appearing. Mr. Alan Darius. Appearing. Thank you, Mr. Allen.
Copacetic evening, Superintendent Leon and school board members. My name is Darius Allen, and I am currently a 7th grade student at Avon Avenue School. I have found my access to after-school programming. I like to be helpful in my growth. Tonight you will hear the word dreamers a lot. Dreamers stand for diligence, respect, empathy, equal self-control, and model student. This evening, you have heard from a few of my fellow dreamers about 3 needs at our Avon Avenue School. Number 1, the need for a safe and functional playground. 2, the need for an operational kitchen. And 3, the need for repairs to our school gym. These 3 things are important because it gives our school a better reputation and a healthy learning environment. At our Avon Avenue School, our teachers, principals, and vice principals go out of their way to make sure that we know we matter. Tonight, we are asking that you show us that we matter by helping us identify solutions to these needs. Thank you for taking the time to listen to us.
Thank you, Darius. Superintendent?
I think that may conclude the students from Avon with that one. Am I right? Principal Haygood. So Samaya, Malaya, Janaya, and Darius. Can you all stand up? Malaya. Can we give these students a big round of applause? And while everyone has a seat, not the four of you, can y'all turn around and look at Malcolm, because he's going to stand up and join you, because he deserves a round of applause also. Where's Malcolm? See, because at one point in time, what happened in our lives and the lives of other adults is that because we were kids, and in our generations and generations after us, you know, we were supposed to be seen and not heard. And so we become adults who believe that children can be seen and not heard, or just not heard. And that's not what's happening with this board. And that's definitely not what's happening with this superintendent's administration. Your voices are extremely important. That's why in a couple of weeks, we're planning a youth conference. And although I think Malcolm doesn't meet the age requirement of it, he actually might sneak in with the four of you to get into that session as well. Because what I want is the four of you to be better than everything we can be, which is a hard thing for someone to want, is to admit that we're not perfect. So I just want you to know that some of the things that you have asked for will occur faster than others. A lot of people have questioned the selection of the schools that we've visited thus far. They have all been with reason. You know, Hawkins Street School is my elementary school. I live across the street from it. Still to date, I love it immensely. But somebody who cares a lot about Avon alerted me to the fact that the playground didn't have any backboards. So we made sure that we got backboards for you. But on the drive to my house, I always pass the playground at Hawkins Street School, my alma mater. And you know what I noticed? That none of the backboards were up. That in fact, students that were playing very late into the night could get hurt with what was there. So because of the thinking of Mr. Haygood at Avon, we wound up at Hawkins. Getting backboards at Hawkins. So all I want to do is say to the four of you in particular that you may want something and you may actually get it. But understand this, that there may be a school that exists in this city that may have a want that is greater than yours. And that our objective is to make sure that we remove all the wants and make sure you have everything that you're supposed to have, like the things you've asked for. So I'm just proud of you for raising it, and I want you to know that we will be addressing all of these issues, but they may not necessarily all be addressed at the exact same time. But raising them to me, making sure that I'm aware just in case I am not, is something that I'm extremely proud of the five of you for doing. Thank you.
Next speaker, Sophia Inamo. Not appearing. Next speaker, Isaiah Thornton. Not appearing. Next speaker, Bradley Golma. Yay, Bradley.
Hello, Bradley Gomia. I'd like to start off by talking about the upcoming elections. I'll start with the school board election. So back in November 6th, we voted on a locally elected school board, as everyone in here maybe, probably, if you didn't, you do now, know. But as we have seen with the locally elected school board, we still continue, and empirically we've had a very low turnout of people actually going out to vote. And I could pull up the statistics, but I don't think we need that right now. It's apparent and it's very clear. The gist of it is we need to do better this year. We should always be striving to do better. The superintendent talked earlier, or he's talked a lot about going beyond the traditionally set limits of NPS's public education. That is conception to cradle to college to career. And we have the 10-day civics curriculum for students in the US2 classes, but what about the parents? What are we doing to make sure that the parents learn and know how to be civically engaged? And somebody said community school. Yes, that's an outlet in which we can reach these parents, and I'm asking for us to, or for us as NPS, the NPS district, to start brainstorming ways in which we can engage students to get that voter turnout up. Because this is, we've taken steps like with the solution civics in the schools to make sure that we have a citizenry in the future that is civically engaged. But what are we doing right now to make sure that it gets there, we get to that point faster, and we have an example for the students of the future to be civically engaged. There could be a lot done. We have some ideas, and we could have that conversation, but I'd like us to both, when I say us, like the Newark Students Union, the school board, to both contemplate and think about different ways that we could get more parents involved in actually voting. Talking about the civics curriculum, or the solution civics curriculum, there's supposed to be a 10-day civics curriculum with basically juniors, because that's when US2 is most commonly taken, to my knowledge. I'd like an update about whether or not that's actually running. I've talked to a few juniors, and all of the ones I've talked to haven't taken it yet, so I want to know if there's a formal process in which, like, I don't know who's in charge of, like, the program and instruction committee makes sure that things that get passed in legislation actually come through, like we actually do this curriculum, or like, yeah, it happens. That's all.
Thank you so much. Next speaker, not appearing.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask if I could just make a comment because it concerns the students, and I know they may be leaving a little earlier since our meetings can go late. If I could just, thank you, I appreciate it. So good evening, everyone. So just quickly again, just because I did have a response to the students, and as the superintendent pointed out, normally we wait until the very end, but I don't want the students to have to wait until the end in case you are going to be going home, because it is a school night. So I just wanted to, again, just respond. So I heard Ms. McClendon talk about the kitchen and food being sent from another school, the food being cold, and her classmates wanting hot and healthier options. I heard Ms. Wellborn talk about the gym walls having mold on them that are continuing to be painted over and having physical education in their actual classrooms. I heard Ms. Jackson Page talk about wanting a functional playground and structured playtime and just a safe space to play. And then Mr. Allen showed us that this was a coordinated speech, right? They took the time to organize and think about their ideas as critical thinkers and problem solvers, and they brought solutions. And though, of course, we are in a process of transition, to me, to hear those ideas, I heard a sense of urgency that needs to go beyond a needs assessment. And I played basketball in high school. I think being a part of a team and a program is essential. It gives a lot to our students. But for me as a board member, hearing these students speak, if we can cut a check for $50,000 for students to be able to get new uniforms, I think that we should be able to cut a check to get a new stove and to paint appropriately and to remove mold. also to put in a functional playground. So that I just, again, wanted to commend all the students who came up to speak, and will continue to be paying attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Owens. Next speaker, Viva White.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Ms. White, 1 second. Ms. Haygood, I see that you're here. Thank you for taking the time. Can you come to the microphone? I know you're proud of them just because you've been there, and even though I've lived here my whole entire life and lived only a couple of blocks from Avon Avenue School when I was actually born, I don't know the building, but since when has the school been with the need of a kitchen?
Forever, I guess.
All right. So, I started on July 1 in this role. So whatever it is that we can make happen, we're going to obviously work with you and members of the school to make sure that whatever we can make happen, we make that happen. It's not about throwing money at anything, because we've had billions of dollars and all we needed was a stove. I'm sure that we can figure that one out. So to Board Member, Owen's point is, I don't want to underline it, but I do want to highlight it. There are certain things that we can do obviously faster than others, and I just can't wait, because not only I think you're doing such a great job there, but you're just one of our biggest cheerleaders, and I'm proud of you for that, and I want you to be able to look at these babies later and say, it wasn't because they came here that something happened. It happened because it was the right thing to do. So, we're going to be very intentional on everything that we do, and it helps on this way.
Thank you very much.
Keep doing a good job there.
Next speaker, Ms. Viva White.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.
And my heart was there, but I do want to apologize to the board members, to the superintendent about the community conversation that you had last week. I was home actually doing schoolwork, so please forgive me. And if y'all don't see me, I'm home doing schoolwork, because this is something I do really like to do. But I want to speak about what I've always been speaking about, our community schools. And I'm going to refer to this article that was written by Patrick Wall, and he is here. And the title of it says, Zero Student Achievement, Fate of Newark's 10 Million Community Schools Program is in Doubt. So there was a lot written in the article. I was interviewed for the article. And what I shared with Patrick is that there has been a lack of success regarding the South Ward Community Schools Initiative because it has not been properly implemented. Also, it spoke in the article about, and I'm not sure because Superintendent Leon, I did not see any comments from you, and I can maybe understand why, about doing a global initiative, the global school initiative all over the city. I believe wholeheartedly that a community school model needs to be all over the city, just like our baby spoke about what will we do for parents. The community school model will encompass that, how things that we do for parents. However, the South Ward Community Schools chose the sustainable community school model, and that is something that I would like to see there. I also think some things, although there has been a lot of money given, it has not been properly invested, and it also has not been properly allocated. So and in that way, I look at it as a sin of commission and a sin of omission. We know at Belmont Runyon Community School, and that's the picture that it shows. It only shows that school, but there are 5 schools in that community school initiative. And we know when the convocation happened, it was reported out that there has not been anything. I'm not giving that to your fault. That falls on a previous administration. I think, again, it goes back to the sin of commission and sin of omission. Another thought that is on my mind, the reason why they may want the vision for Belmont Runyon to not be successful. We know that there are other factors that would like to inhabit our schools and actually not have it and still want to operate under the No Child Left Behind model, which that was reauthorized and is now the Every Student Succeeds Act. But Belmont Runyon, for those who do not know, was built with blood. A baby died for that school to be built. The Department of Transportation built that school, not the SDA, where that money was squandered, and we still waiting for schools to be built. So as long as I'm living and I'm in the city of Newark, those who may have eyes on that school because it's very located to 78, 3 blocks off, I could come in and run right back out, because that's why that school was taken off of the corner of West Runyon and Irvin Turner Boulevard, because a baby got killed because people used to come in and just go right around the corner and get their drugs. My middle son, was in the old school, was one of the first group of students in the new school. So I'm going to fight, and we got to implement this community school model, Superintendent Leon.
Thank you, Ms. White. Next speaker, Ms. Denise Cole.
Denise Cole, 765 Broad Street. I want to say hi to the parents and the students that are here tonight. I want to echo the student that came up that April 16th is the school board election, and that all parents should know about the school board election, that the school should be sending flyers home saying there's a school board election. Please get engaged. That's what an education institution is about. Also tonight, I put in writing to Brenda C. Liss, Esquire, General Counsel, a OPA request. My OPA request: 1, Superintendent Leon's contract for the Newark Public School. 2, the Sikh Academy agreement document for the $73,000 that was or is to be given to Newark Public School, George Washington Carver, Bruce Street School. The policy, procedure, regulation, or document that outlines the procedure for tenants, lessees, co-located schools inside a public school building, given additional monies identified for use by a public school building principal for the upgrade of the building. The next is the document that shows how money was returned to the general budget by schools in the district for 2016-2017 school year, 2017-2018 school year. 5, the document that shows how many students was transferred or re-enrolled back to our school district from the charter district after October 15th of 2015, 2016, 2016, 2017, 2017, 2018 school year. The next, the document that show total enrollment for Newark Public School District of students and staff 2016, 2017 school year, 2017, 2018 school year. The document that shows total budget for Newark School District 2016, 2017, 2017, 2018. The last is the document laying out the South Ward Children Alliance money in public schools identified in services that are to be provided to those schools and the providers. Thank you. And I will be submitting this to Martha. I wrote my OPA request, hand wrote it because I don't have any of the OPA requests. And I'm submitting it because every meeting I've asked General Counsel about the $73,000 in the policy. I've not yet gotten a response from her, nor Superintendent Leon, nor the board chair in reference to this issue. And this issue is a continuation from last year, and they still haven't addressed that issue. So like Viva once gave an example, you know how the record has a scratch, and unless you pick it up, it's going to keep playing. Well, I'm going to keep playing until you address the issue, and I'm going to keep requesting stuff until you identify the $73,000 and how and why that money is not given to our budget so that it can be allocated from the traditional public school budget. The policy that states that we can do it the way they're doing it right now, which is pay to play.
Thank you, Ms. Cole. Next speaker, Christopher King.
Oops, sorry. Thank you. Hi, Christopher Canick, 155 Berkeley Avenue in Bloomfield. I'm here today to give a small update. I've been talking for about 7.5 years about special education and the mistreatment of said students within the city of Newark. I spoke to Cammie Anderson at the podium. I spoke to Christopher Surf at the podium. Neither saw fit to take action that I've ever perceived in my own classroom. About 2 months ago, I spoke directly with the superintendent, Mr. Roger Leone, and I spoke with his assistant superintendents about the issue of special education both at Central High School and at Wide in the district. To say that they took a different approach would be one of the most vast understatements I think I would have ever made. Almost immediately, within about 30 working days, we saw all of the heads of special needs come out to take a look at Central High School's situation. We saw a commitment from the special needs budget of another full teaching position at Central High School, and as a result, we have some teachers who are looking forward to returning to the district next year. So thank you for that work. Additionally, yeah, I do think that is applause-worthy. If I wasn't right next to the microphone, I would applaud you myself. In addition, I want to also point out one of the reasons that we often have a trouble with staffing levels, and that is the issue of job burnout. This is a phrase that's going around a lot recently. It's often linked to millennials in particular, but it affects every level of, and every age bracket of individual in a workplace, or has the potential to. I could give you a lengthy description of job burnout, but I'll just tell you some of the symptoms. These are from the Mayo Clinic. I am not a doctor and cannot provide any sort of advice, but I'm going to address that in a moment. If you've been cynical or critical at work, you drag yourself to work or have trouble getting started, you're irritated, you lack the energy to be productive, you find it hard to concentrate, your sleep habits have changed, you may be having trouble with stomach or bowels. A lot of our teachers profess that this is something that they suffer from, and while it's not the purview of the board directly, I do want to say that the Newark Teachers Union provides an EAP, which is an employee assistance program called HCAMS. That's Healthcare Assistance with Member Support, and any NTU member can call the NTU and then speak directly to that EAP and receive help. So if we have any members who are suffering, they should reach out to the NTU, and hopefully we can use that to help with some of those attendance problems that I know Mr. Leone is concerned about most of all. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Canick. Superintendent?
Mr. Canick. So, one of the important things that I've heard you repeatedly say at the microphone were, genuine concerns that you had, but it was interesting. You were talking about yourself and your needs of the students, but then it also went beyond you. Like, you were worrying about other students in other schools, and in assuming this role and then our eventual conversations, I just want to make it clear to you that, I had a couple of days ago a follow-up with your principal, and your concerns are not falling on deaf ears, to say the least. When she and I reviewed our conversation and the questions that I raised to her, she understands that your concerns are my concerns, and that we will address them student by student, classroom by classroom, school by school. And it's not that we're going to get to one school faster than the other, but we will establish policies that impact children in every school, so that it's not who comes to the microphone, but who's raising a concern that is true beyond the microphone. And so I just want to put it out there, because it's just the tight schedule that I have this week and next week. It's humanly impossible for me to do what she and I have already discussed. But we will look at your schedule. If I need, to figure out how do I make an adjustment to your day, but we will try and not mess up your preparation period. But we will create a time period where it will be you, your principal, the administrator who leads special education in your school, our executive director of special education, the assistant superintendent of the high schools, and myself. And it'll be a session that we lead to address a good portion of the arguments that you've made with some of the ideas that you actually have to help change not only what we do at Central High School to serve the children there better, because my objective is to create the most incredible autism program at Central High School. Like, that will be the premier school in our district for when a student is entering their high school years. And while you're not necessarily servicing students that have an IEP that indicate that, you are serving a different population of students, I'm going to fold you into the works to model for everyone how teachers who raise concerns do it repeatedly, and it appears as though, people either are saying that will happen another day, that you will see evidence that that day has in fact arrived. So I'm excited. I just apologize to you because the principal tried. We met last week and she was like, look at your schedule. Mr. Kanik did come up to me about your conversation with him. And so part of what I want to do is let people know that we solve the district's problems not at the district. We solve the district's problems closer to our children. That means we have to take and listen to what our teachers say we need. And when they're not getting it right, we go closer to the heartbeat and have the kids tell us what they need. So we're going to model how it happens when a teacher raises the issue. And I hope that there will be enough evidence that you can come back, months from now into next school year and say, I'm a part of the change that I always knew was possible, and it was because you were involved in it. So I thank you for that. And thank you for being patient with the meeting. Within the month of February, we will have that meeting, okay? Thank you, sir.
Superintendent. Next speaker, Octavia Bradley. Not appearing. Next speaker, Shay Coulter. Not appearing. Next speaker, Verda Mae Walker.
Good afternoon to the board. My name is Verda Mae Walker. I'm a substitute teacher with the Newark Board. I've been there for a number of years. I love my job and I take my job very serious. My concern is students and use of their cell phones, especially using the computer as a charging station. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I've had 2 incidents with 2 different schools. One school, the students used the phone. The next day, the teacher came in and reported me to the principal that I did not manage my class correctly because the students used the phone and deleted something that she had on her computer. Another school, the students wanted to use the phone to charge up her phone. I told her no. The other class, I had three classes, first three classes. The first two classes did the assignment without the use of the computer. This class, with a number of about 29 students, with 21 students who belonged in the class, about 4 of them did not belong in the class. This one student decided that she wanted to use the computer to charge up her phone. I told her no. She went to the department chair, and the department chair came in and said that she was allowed to use her phone. In front of me, in front of the class, told them that they can use the phone. At the end, I went to him and said to him, the reason why I did not want the kids to use the phone is because of the incident that I had at another school. Then he said to me, it's okay for them to use the phone. Look, I'm using my phone, my computer, to charge up my phone. I find that there's a lack of respect from students as well as administrators to the subs. And I'm speaking for a number of subs who get no respect from the students as well as the administrators. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Walker. Next speaker, Johnny Latner. Not appearing. Next speaker, Mr. Douglas Freeman.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Superintendent. I was going to talk about something completely different, but I'm going to talk about the South Ward schools. The teachers stated that it was basically like employee burnout, but we have forced dilapidation burnout and competition between school after school. Now, it was my understanding that Avon Avenue School, which I'm familiar with, and I support the principal and the individuals who are staffers in this school, but it seems like it was used as an experiment, because you had consultants, you had different organizations speaking on behalf of the school. I believe it was South Ward Children's Alliance, who received millions of dollars, and the stove doesn't work. In 2010, Michelle Obama, our former First Lady, came to Maple Avenue School, and she said, let's move, right? And she brought a healthy food option to our community. So I'm not blaming the administration now, but the former administration took it literally and moved the kids out of the school. Now we have schools that the stoves do not work. So one school is eating cold lunches and another school is eating hot, warm food into their bellies. It's a creation of segregation right in our city off of taxpayers' dollars. Our staff, our professional teachers, our professional principals should not have to come to a school board meeting with their children, be on TV asking for a stove. It's a disgrace. Still got time? Yeah. All right, so it's a disgrace. So I'm asking through you, Madam Chair and Superintendent, that we have this conversation to find out from, I believe your last meeting, Superintendent Roger Leon, you said you was doing an autopsy. I want to know about an autopsy through all these consultants, the Facebook's monies and all the North Trust. What are they doing with our schools? Because it needs to bring a collective together. And I'm speaking as the South Ward Chair. Thank you. The next stop is DC.
Thank you, Mr. Freeman. Next speaker, Jamarius Jean Janot. Not appearing. Next speaker, Yolanda Johnson. Not appearing. Next speaker, Jillian Fox Majuta. Not appearing. Next speaker, Candy Bay. Good evening, Ms. Bay.
Good evening, Mr. Superintendent and School Board. My name is Candy Bay. I live 142 South 8th Street in Newark. I'm a resident who lived in the community for over 20 years, and I'm also a parent at Avon Avenue School. I want to first thank you. Thank you for the recent work that has been taking place at Avon Avenue. I personally had the opportunity to witness some of the work there being done as far as the construction in the music room and the plumbing that's taking place there. We want to thank you for that. But also, I want to thank you guys for putting us on a list to receive a new intercom system there. Without that intercom system, I need you to understand that it's not safe for our children there, because if we have an emergency, there's no way to get the message across to the kids that there is something taking place in that building. Right. So it's very important that we get that PA system taken care of, as well as the clocks. I'm going to speak about that kitchen. I want to thank you in advance, for the kitchen and for taking care of that situation, as well as the gym. With that gym, it's been over 15 years now since that gym has been having mold. The gym has been painted 6 to 7 times to cover up the mold, but unfortunately, the mold still comes back. So it's just like an old car. You keep putting money into these cars and repairing them, and then finally you decide, hey, listen, I might as well just get a new car. So I think Avon Avenue School deserves and needs a new gym. With that being said, a lot of us, they talked about the playground. I thank you in advance for the playground and for realizing that, our children there at Avon Avenue School, they do matter, and these things are, very important to them as us as the parents. Without the stove, like the kids were saying, they're having, cold food. The food is cold, and by the time they rewarm the food, now the food is overcooked. And unfortunately, when we have bad weather, the food is not being delivered to the school, so now the staff there has to prepare peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for the kids, which is also a health issue because we have a lot of children there that have allergies to peanuts. So that's another issue, that needs to be addressed. So with that being said, I just wanted to say that we are looking very forward to developing a working relationship with the superintendent, Mr. Leon, and the Newark Board of Education to make changes that will, have a positive impact on our school climate and culture. So with all the information that have been provided, I would like to ask you, when can we expect to see changes, and can we expect to see changes made to the gym and the kitchen? Once again, I would like to say thank you to the Board of Education as well as the Superintendent of Schools for acknowledging how much Avon Avenue School matters. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bay. Next speaker, Donald Jackson. Not appearing. Next speaker, Adorian Murray Thomas. Appearing. Good evening, Ms. Thomas Murray.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Adorian Murray Thomas. I reside at 316 Fairmount Avenue, Newark, New Jersey, 07103. Good evening, Superintendent, distinguished board members, and all the community leaders, parents, and other stakeholders here with us today. I want to first start by thanking the young people. I know some of y'all have to go home, but for the rest of you guys who are still here, just for your incredible questions and the clarity and passion with which you spoke. Some of y'all, I know your principal. Shout out to Ms. Haygood and Marcus and everyone at the Avon School, and just educators across the city who work day in, day out, as well as our parents who I know may have been up last night helping y'all re-go over the questions. That's what my mom used to do when I was younger. So just shout out to everyone who made you guys as young people and you for yourselves to come up here, represent yourselves well. Just know that your voice matters, right? And that we as the adults, we have a responsibility to respond when you call us to act. So thank you for that. My question tonight is more specifically around suspension and alternatives to suspension, just to hear some thoughts on the data as well as some more qualitative feedback in relation to those. I wanted to hear, as folks probably already know, when we look at students who have extremely high suspension rates, they're more likely to not only be disconnected from school, but also to enter the juvenile justice system. And so can we talk a little bit about whether or not we've seen a decline in suspensions over the past 2 to 3 years? And if so, so, or if not, what conversations are being had with students and staff at the school level to get a deeper understanding as to why these trends exist. The second part of my question is around alternatives to suspension. And, I know from both working in my organization directly with young people from across the district, as well as previously working with the district on some restorative justice work, that there is a lot of alternatives to suspension work happening at the school level, at various levels, but it is happening. So I'd love to hear both some just feedback on both the hard data around the impact of these alternatives to suspension, and then also just like everyday conversations that are being had with teachers, school leaders, and students around some of the benefits and then also the challenges of implementing restorative justice or other forms of suspension alternative practices at the school and district level, particularly how it affects culture, climate, and then overall discipline trends across schools in the district. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Murray Thomas. Next speaker, Manisha Moore-Lammy. Not appearing. Final speaker, Shalika Thompson-Liggins. Not appearing. That concludes our speakers list.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Ms. King.
I do want to thank the students who spoke, but I also think that where there are teachable moments, we should teach our students and the audience about our process and procedures. And so I would like to have some clarity from our superintendent or our business administrator in terms of what is actually happening at Avon and why they're talking about an issue with a stove. It is a school that is a receiving school for food. So let's be clear on what the process is and what we have been doing. So either the food that is being delivered to the school, there's a problem with the contractor, or there's a problem with something with the food. Like, let's get to the bottom of what the real problem is, and I think we should address it from that level so that everyone is on the same page and everyone understands, and the viewing audience and the residents who are here don't think that this is just an issue about a stove. So I would like to have some clarification on that. Also, I think that it is really important. Thank you, Bradley, for mentioning the elections. Our elections are very important. There are certain things that this district can do and school board members can do as it relates to talking about the elections, but we all are residents. We all can promote it with our different hats. But I would like to have an answer in terms of the legalities of this district and what we can and cannot do as it relates to elections. Because again, we have local control, we are responsible, and whenever we can educate individuals about what powers we have and what we can do, we should take every opportunity to do that and present it in a way that our community can receive it and understand what we can and cannot do. Lastly, there was some talk about the community schools. Ms. White mentioned that. And I think that that is an initiative that we all really believe that it was a missed opportunity. And so we really need to have some clarity and some honest conversations on where we are going and what it means to have schools that are open to the community and that receive the community and address the needs of the community, because we still can do all of that. And if it's not the name, what is the process and what is the program? I think that is more important than all of us getting caught up on the name, because I know I've been frustrated for 3 years talking about the community schools, money being wasted, but when I look at the total picture, it's about education of our children and what do we need to do to ensure that it's happening and that we are respecting the wishes and the needs of the community at large. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Gaddy. Anyone else?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes, Ms. Owens.
Thank you.
Sorry, Ms. Owens, sorry. If it's okay, sorry, Ms. Owens. It's just, we want to hear, just in case there's a repetition of same questions and things of that nature, and then we'll address a couple of the points. There are 3 that Ms. Gaddy already raised that we were going to address. So, please feel free to make your comments, and then we're going to wait until the end, though.
Yes,
Okay. All right.
that's great. Yeah, my just one comment connects to Board Member Gaddy's first question. So that even though I know there's going to be some explanation in terms of the process at Avon Avenue School, particularly around the food, I still would like to request, Madam Chair, that we add Avon Avenue School as a standing agenda item on the Operations Committee agenda so that the entire board is continually receiving updates about the progress there during our business meetings. Thank you.
Chair of that committee. Thank you. Any other board members?
Ms. Deering, please share the date of the Operations Committee with Ms. Haygood.
February 13th.
She said a standing item, so it's all of the meetings.
And could we add the intercom to all of the meetings? Because, it was Arts High last week, another school this week, so surely there's other schools to come as well.
I think I would like for us to have a technology audit throughout all our schools, the same way we're doing the facilities. That would be important, so we can know what's antiquated, what needs to be updated throughout our entire district.
If you all, sorry, I didn't want to do this, but if you refer to the facilities walkthrough with the Schools Development Authority, I think that given Board Member Owen's great recommendation with regards to Avon, that there are other schools that Ms. Wilson, she's not going to tell you which ones specifically because there are so many of them, not so many, but there is a number of them that have their own, that do not have a kitchen, that actually are fed by other schools, where because of what the Avon students have identified as an issue there, it may very well be that it's happening in other schools. So even though Avon will be the focus, there's a list of other schools where if we stick to that SDA report, that might not be a bad way of providing guidance to the Operations Committee for Mr. Padilla in terms of being able to randomly say, where are we with this school? Where's the schedule? Things of that nature. So I'm confident that Mr. Padilla will carry those items forward. Like the intercoms that you just raised, I was just receiving information that we're already in a particular school. The Avon has a certain date. So as long as you're aware of the dates and where we are with that, that'll be really helpful for the board to keep us on track of that.
That's it. Anyone else?
So can we respond? All right, so we'll take this opportunity to respond. 3 of the issues that came up dealt with the kitchen at Avon. That Ms. Gaddy kind of articulated the whole issue about our abilities with elections. So Ms. Wilson will provide a general idea about kitchen status and where we are with that. It might be really specific to Avon, but it may still be broad in scope. With regards to the elections question, actually when Bradley does this to me all of the time, he always thinks of something to make me think of something else, and so I appreciate him so much. And so I already started with General Counsel to ask her, where are we on this issue? What are her thoughts on it? So she'll give an initial comment to that, as well as probably a need for us to do a little bit following up, just so that we are consistent with the law. As we know that the district is in its state of transition, we don't want it to ever transition backwards. And then the whole idea about missed opportunities with the community schools. I want to address that one as in a very broad way, because I've been thinking, how do I articulate that in the best fashion? And you've actually done it for me. I see it as an incredible missed opportunity. There were dollars that were associated with a strategy that did not yield its intended results. And then what it does for us, it makes us question, are we the problem? How can we get help? Well, in the NPS Clarity 2020, the role of the community is extremely important, but it is not absent everybody else. So the focus and the work ahead will involve everyone. It will involve schools in a feeder pattern to their high schools. It'll involve reimagining of our comprehensive high schools in contrast to what our magnet high schools have been able to accomplish. So everyone learned pretty much last week that every academy at our comprehensive high schools is in fact matched to a magnet high school, and that each academy will have two partners, a higher education partner, of which I mentioned one tonight, where Montclair State University will partner with Eastside High School in their new teacher academy, a reimagined teacher academy. In fact, the magnet high school that will match with Eastside High School is University High School, where we actually had the city's premier teacher academy years ago. There are a number of great people that created a great program for our students, and we were in the process of getting students to enroll back into our school, not as students, but as actual teachers. So I'm excited about tomorrow's conversation, and the idea, because of the urgency, is to make sure that we're moving the schools in the direction that we need them to go, and for them to get there quickly. So there are timelines that have in fact been shared with people that we will continue to repeat and share again and again, so that everyone is aware where we're going, by when do we need to be there, and what's our progress to date. So there's a lot that we look forward to, and I'm excited about leading that in the work ahead. As relates to Avon, Ms. Wilson.
Thank you, Superintendent Leon. Good evening, Chair Haynes, members of the board, members of the community. Avon Avenue School was built in 1905. It has never had a kitchen. The space that is allocated to be a kitchen is inadequate to be one. In terms of what is different with Avon this year is that we had a very old stove. So it's been a receiving school for, I guess, predating my entry into the district some 23 years ago. The stove we have finally died. And it is an electrical stove. There are no gas lines in Avon. So the stove to replace it would be an electrical stove. It may seem as though just to buy a stove and put in the kitchen or what is actually our kitchen is a simple solution. However, much technology has been added to the building. Other electrical components have been added to the building, whether they be AC units, whether they be whatever. So the electrical capacity is at issue at this point in time. So the stove went out, I think, sometime this school year. We've also, is it this school year, Ms. Haygood, or was it late last year?
I feel like it's been a long time.
Okay, so you've been receiving from another school for a long time, yes. Even more than we are aware of. Okay, so I make mistakes. I'm not going to say I know the exact date, but it's something we've been discussing. So if you were to look to put a kitchen in Avon, you would have to do some demolition of walls. You'd have to put in duct and ventilation work because ovens require ventilation. And one of the requests at some point in time has been to make Avon a cooking school. I'm not saying you won't get a stove to replace the one you have, which will allow, when you receive items, for your staff to keep them even warmer and closer to proper temperature, and I'll be dealing with the temperature issue soon. But right now, that is the issue that we're faced with. So it needs to be scoped out, it needs to be looked at and evaluated. Avon is not the only school. Many of our schools are beginning to experience these kinds of issues. Franklin went offline 3 weeks ago. Their kitchen is beyond repair. It is also in a building that is way past its useful life because it was actually built before 1905. Okay, so these are the things that we are facing that you have to look at and make determinations. In terms of Avon, we've done significant pieces of work there. We've looked at the water infiltration issue that a person spoke about. I think she's still in the audience. That is on the SDA's list finally. It's been funded and it's going to happen. Okay? So it's a multitude of things that we need to work on. When we talk about intercoms are something that we've talked about. There are a number of intercoms throughout the district that are not functioning. We are now beginning, I'm going to tell you, in the last 5 to 6 years, this is the first time that facilities actually got money in this budget year. So you're beginning to see them do things that maybe they have not had an opportunity to do before because they never had the funding. I've talked about a $30.5 million capital bond. I intend to begin exercising use of that. The city issued notes, not the bonds, but I'm going to use the notes because they're available for us to use. So on that, there are fire alarms, there are generators. Intercoms, we are working piece by piece as we find funding and if I have other sources of funding, because some of these projects that we are now doing in district, the SDA will not do. They either don't have the money or don't believe it's something that they should do. When the Facilities Act was created in 2007, they took away from Abbott districts, now known as SDA districts, because that's our new name. They took away maintenance budgets, they took away capital budgets. So what happens if you don't do maintenance since 2007? That's what? 12 years of maintenance on buildings that average 92 years old. We are holding them together with a wing and a prayer. And my guys in facilities and the ladies in facilities are phenomenal. They are phenomenal. So those are the challenges that we are facing. But we are doing work at Avon. We will continue to do work at Avon, and we will continue to do work at all the schools. The goal is to take school by school and really do things that are critical, that are important, that are health and safety, and that will express to students that we care and that we believe that they are valuable. So we're going to continue doing that, whether it's a paint job, whether it's whatever. But it's all going to take some time. Have I answered the questions?
Yeah, I think so. There's a lot of work that is ahead. One of the things that's, I think, extremely important is that all of the districts are required to have a 5-year long-term facilities plan. So the 5 years of that plan is up this June. So that means, what was the plan for our buildings from 2014 to 2019? People need to read that document. And part of what I want to do is make sure it's up on the web for people to read it so that you can see what was the plan, because there was a plan. Part of what my job is from 2019 to forecast the next 5 years and what's the long-term facilities plan. So we have a lot of things that are due at the end of this year. We have the end to the next 3 years, 2016 to 2019 strategic plan. It's the launch of NPS Clarity 2020. It's a long-term facilities plan that's supposed to last 5 years. And what it's supposed to do is to forecast what the future is supposed to be like. So today, if you look at that 5-year facilities plan from 2014, you're pretty much experiencing what life was supposed to be like. Right now, what we will do is through aggressive work and needs assessments left and right. Mr. Freeman talked about the autopsy, and it's exactly that. It's aggressive and intentional, and it's fearless. Because we can't be afraid. Unfortunately, some people are experiencing aspects of that in a way that's unacceptable. The real answer to any school that was built before the year 2000 is knocking it down and rebuilding a new school, because all of our students in every single one of our wards is deserving of that. That's going to require people to do a little bit more than come to the microphone. It's going to require a lot more than people writing about it. It's actually going to require people to do something about it. First step will be my job in writing a plan, and I will do that. On the issue of elections, General Counsel.
Thank you. The rulings that we've received from the Commissioner of Education and the courts of the state of New Jersey indicate two things regarding publicity or public information about election questions. And the first one is that the Board of Education certainly can't take a position or advocate for a certain outcome on any election, whether it's a public question or election of members of the Board of Education. That's fairly straightforward. That's kind of easy. We cannot take a position one way or the other as a Board of Education. The other issue that is a little more complicated is the rulings that indicate that a Board of Education cannot spend more than a very small amount of money in order to publicize information about the election. And what's complicated about that is determining what does that mean, a small amount of money? How much can you spend and how can you spend it? Keeping in mind also that first rule that you can't take a position. The leading decision on this issue is from 1984 from the New Jersey Supreme Court, and that was on a referendum question, and the ruling was two-part, that the Board of Education there had proposed, and I think actually had spent too much money in the court's view, and had taken a position in favor of adoption of the referendum question there. But 1984 is a long time ago. What they did there was publish a glossy brochure that they distributed, I believe, by mail to every voter in the district, and we know that that's not permissible. But if we do something that costs less, probably something is permissible. So, for example, in November, for the question about the Type 1 or Type 2 board, we did post something on this district's website. I think that's perfectly okay. It doesn't cost anything. We were careful not to take a position one way or the other, but rather just reminded anyone who looked at the website that there was going to be an election, gave very basic information about it, and encouraged people to vote. We can do something like that for the election of board members and the budget, but we need to be careful about how we say it and how we present it so that it doesn't look as if we are favoring one outcome over another. But I believe the superintendent was alluding to in saying that we need to do more homework, we can look at exactly what we can do within the limits of the law, and I'm comfortable that we can do something.
So thank you for that, because I think as one of the speakers mentioned, I think it was Ms. Cole, so we can advertise it on our website, and we can have flyers that are distributed to all the parents, at least a community engagement specialist to give out to the parents and the principals simple flyers that say there is an election. I just want to
I appreciate that. So everything, the assignment was, well, we will make sure we're doing our due diligence because timing is extremely important. And obviously everyone knowing that, you know, there's an election and that the most important vote is the one that's casted. Because while everyone will have an opinion and have a comment, all of those are very nice, and we're in a country that allows people to speak freely, but you are also subjected to what happens when people don't vote. So everything that we can do on our end, you know, will be done. You know, we have obviously a channel that other people do not have access to. The whole idea about creating a flyer, things of that nature, things that are easy, no cost to us, those are the no-brainers on our part. But instead of saying we're going to do this and maybe not that, we're going to make sure that we're clear what the guidelines are, and we'll make sure that we're following those as it relates to this election, as well as the procedure for all of the elections to come.
Thank you, Superintendent.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Thank you. So I just wanted to thank Board Member Gaddy for asking those questions, and the superintendent for his response, and also allowing, you know, his key staff to be able to answer those questions, and also to Ms. Wilson in particular as well for infusing that history around SDA, because that's important for us to know as board members and the community as well as to why a lot of our buildings are in the shape that they're in. And on that point that Mr. Leon made about, you know, we need to do more than, we're going to need to do more than speak on the mic or write about what's happening. It just sparked a thought in my brain that I think is just very important to bring up, that there is money and funding available for our school buildings. However, that money is going towards particular schools, and those types of schools are charter schools. A few weeks ago, I was driving, you know, down University Avenue, and I got to the juncture with Washington Street. I looked to the left, North Star Academy. I kept driving. I hadn't been down that part of Washington in a while, and good, you know, of course, I obeyed the speed limit, but I was taken aback at seeing the big sign of Great Oaks. I was like, where did that school come? I didn't even know they were building a school. I live in the West Ward. I usually drive straight down 18th Avenue, another North Star, a stone's throw away from South 17th Street School. So these buildings are popping up left and right quickly. They look beautiful. I'm sure inside the facilities are beautiful as well, and our schools are crumbling. And we're under local control now, but of course we have to take into account the fact that we're under state control. This was not something that the previous administration of this school district was concerned about. They were not worried about a facilities assessment, a needs assessment, what do we need. So it's just important to me as a board member, and my perspective, to underscore that no one should ever argue and say that there is no funding. The question is, where is the funding going? And so yes, we need to do more. You know, speaking on it is important, and us asking these important questions is important, but we have to be ready as a community to go out and fight for what our traditional democratic public schools need in order for all children to receive a quality education. Thank you.
Thank you, Board Member Owens. That's Shalika Thomas Ligon. She was the last one to speak before we started going into questions. He's not here. He left. Do anybody have any objections to her speaking? Go ahead, Ms. Liggins. Could you set the timer, Jeff?
Again, I'm Shalika Thomason-Liggins, 157 Mama Street, Newark. I am a mother of 4 students in the city of Newark. 2 attend charter, and my 2 high school students both attend University High School. First, I want to say kudos to Mr. Leon. It is duly noted how you came in immediately and began to sort out the mess that the state left NPS in over the 20-plus years that we were under state control for engaging not just the parents but the students. They don't just know your name, but they know your face. So I want to say thank you for that. I'm here to talk about University High School. I have a 12th grader there and I have a 10th grader there. University High School have always been known as this wonderful magnet school. The principal, Mr. Mendez, he's all that, but he's one person. He needs resources. There isn't a community engagement person there. He's doing this job and he's the principal. He was just attacked by a student just some days ago. He takes on so much, but he's that go-to person for these kids. It seems like anybody kids is there. And before we had this school on a pedestal, we want that school back, that same University High School that we had back then. I'm a proud parent, and although I'm a Shabazz Bulldog, I love my kids being at university. I'm not sure if I would feel that way if Mr. Mendez wasn't the administrator. He is definitely, when I have a problem, the students had a college fair just recently at NJIT, the day that we had the big snowstorm, and school was canceled that day. So a lot of the seniors didn't have their transcripts, they didn't have their SAT scores because they wasn't given to them. Well, when we got to the college fair, my daughter being one of them, she was, kind of thrown because they were doing on-site admissions. I called the guidance counselor multiple times. She did try to email me. My daughter was getting frustrated, wanted to leave. I said, let me call Mr. Mendez. I guarantee he'll know what to do. And of course, he emailed me there and I had someone to print it out. But I love the school. My daughter that day, had I not contacted Mr. Mendez, we would have left. My daughter was accepted to 22 colleges. So I'm just asking you to please, I'm appealing to you to get this man the resources that he needs. Bring that old university back to what it was. It was a wonderful magnet school. It has potential to be that again. And whatever I can do as a parent, I'm definitely my child's, I'm an advocate. So whatever I can do to work with you, but I'm begging you guys to please give that school the resources that they need. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Liggins. Motion for executive session for attorney-client privilege.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Bledsoe, do we have a second?
Second.
Motion is to enter into executive session for the purpose of attorney-client privilege discussion. Mr. Bledsoe and Ms. Owens, any discussion? I'm hearing that we should take about 15 minutes, and so the audience knows we expect to be back out into open session in about 15 minutes. Any discussion? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries.
Motion. Motion.
Go ahead, my motion.
We have quorum.
So why are you here?
3 right there, 2 right here.
Everybody's here? All right. Motion to reconvene?
Motion.
Second.
Oh, wait, here. Motion carries.
The motion carries. I want to apologize for our longest 15 minutes ever. Thank you guys for sticking it out.
Going on to the action items. First, we need a motion for the items within Section 12, Finance and Operations.
Motion.
That is items from 12.1 through 12.2, and there's an A, B, and C under 12.2.
There's a,
Yep, I'm fine with all that.
Someone made a motion, and I didn't get who it was. Ms. Norton?
Second.
Ms. Gomez, second?
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
Any discussion?
Entertain a motion to add a starter to the agenda because the original, I know it's added to there electronically, but the original agenda is not added, so.
Was it added to finance or was it added to personnel?
It should have been under finance and operations. Personnel?
It was on personnel. That's why I didn't mention it just now.
so is it going to be on?
We'll do that.
It'll be on personnel. It'll be wherever anybody wants to make a motion, but my understanding is it's on personnel. It's at 14.7, I'm told? Okay. 14.10, thank you. Okay. So discussion on any finance and operations items? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? No. Motion carries. Next, we have all the items under 13.0, General Counsel. That is 13.1 through 13.5. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Ms. Norton, second?
Second.
Ms. Haynes, any discussion or any questions?
Just make a notation of which one is the admission policy.
The admissions policy is 13.4.
Okay, it should say that, but okay.
It says Board of Education policy, it should say admission.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions?
I want to abstain from 13.4.
We have one abstention. Any others? Motion carries. Next, we have the items listed under 14.0. That is 14.9 plus the added starter 14.10.
Motion.
Mr. Padilla, and do we have a second? Ms. Gomez, thank you. Any discussion? We need a roll call vote on personnel items. Okay. Mr. Bledsoe?
Yes.
Ms. Gaddy?
Yes, with an abstention on 14.10.
Noted. Ms. Gomez?
Yes.
Ms. Haynes?
Yes.
Ms. Hill?
Yes.
Ms. Norton?
Yes.
Ms. Owens?
Yes.
Mr. Padilla?
Yes.
Motion carries. Next, we need a motion on the items listed as 15.0, program and instruction.
Motion.
Second.
Ms. Norton and Mr. Bledsoe. Any discussion on any of the items 15.1 to 15.8? Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. No items were pulled from consent.
Madam Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
new business.
Okay, give me 1 second, Board Member Owens. I know we did a moment of silence earlier for the baby that was killed. Unfortunately, we have another one that just came in for a former teacher from our district who died in a car fire this morning. So if we could, this weekend could offer a prayer for her family, that would be, really heartfelt and appreciated.
You taught at Rafael Hernandez.
She taught at Rafael Hernandez. Who's that? Thank you for Ms. Munoz. Who is that? Munoz. Ms. Munoz. Old building, older new business?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Just quickly, I don't know if all the board members saw it. I think we all received it, but we received a letter via email concerning the Universal Circus tickets that we often give out to our students, the free admission. And so I would like to ask that that be discussed in the Community Engagement Committee and there be some sort of recommendation from the board about what we should do in terms of that request, please.
Madam Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
I can move to have a discussion in our community engagement meeting. Thank you, Board Member Owens.
Madam Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I was able to attend a meeting this morning with our Newark DIG doing infrastructure green. We partner with the city of Newark and the consulting company HDR engineering firm has an internship for our high school students. They must be 10th and 11th grade students. It's a paid internship. I will forward the information. They must have at least some MS Office skills, but it is an opportunity for a student in our district to be exposed to some of the environmental issues pertaining to lead in the drinking water, CSO, combined sewer outflow. So any of our students that would be interested in the engineering field, this would be a great opportunity. So I will forward the information to you all. Thank you.
Madam Chair?
Yes, sir.
I sent an email out last night to the Deputy Superintendent. A number of us were tagged on Facebook, and I apologize, that's my guilty pleasure, in reference to a bilingual education program in terms of, Fitz, if you could chime in at any point, in reference to an Afro-American Dominican mom made bilingual books so that her children can see race and color reflected in their education. I did forward the link to the superintendent's office at some point, hoping that we can incorporate that in the North Region or throughout the school district. So thank you.
Yes. The chair of P&I, if you don't mind.
Program instruction.
Yes, we have been discussing cultural relevant books inside of P&I. I don't want to, infringe on School Board Member Owens, but we are in conversation with the Source of Knowledge bookstore, which is the only African-American-owned bookstore in the state of New Jersey, which is located here in the great city of Newark on Broad Street. So we are in discussion with that because that is it's extremely important that they can look at books and have themselves as a reflection.
You're ready for it.
And it's not just African-Americans, they have Spanish books as well.
Thank you.
That's it. Motion. Motion to adjourn.
No further. Got it.